how to do the hard work. What is the hard work? The hard work is reprogramming the brain. The hard work is breaking processes and programs that don't serve you anymore. Those are the hardest things you're going to do in your life. Especially those of us who've had like really rough childhoods, or you were in your earliest relationships programmed you to be a certain way, act a certain way, think you're a certain thing, which you're not a thing, you're a person, which is something that I see a lot, and actually something that I struggled with for quite a while. Probably still have some hold up from it, because programming and mental abuses, they really do a lot of damage to us. Sometimes our birth charts are naturally inclined to give us these detriments, where like a Saturn retrograde will make you think that you're not worthy of things, right? Jupiter retrograde makes you feel like your name's not on anything, and the universe doesn't really provide for you, even though that's not true. That's just your brain, and you got to work through it. That's the hard work. And the hard work comes with a simple solution that's very difficult to implement, right? So it's all in your head. Everything's in your head. And you have to figure out why you make the decisions you make. And like I said, sometimes it's a birth chart validation, and then you can be like, oh, that's why. And it's easy to move through. Easier. It's at least validating. But then there's psychological programming or environmental programming, even generational curse programming, that makes it so you can't move ahead in your own mind, in your own heart. That's the hard work. Changing jobs is easy. Getting a divorce is easy. Doing these things that are perceived as huge monumental hurdles in life, that's easy. It's getting up to that point to do those things that's hard. I actually had a conversation recently, and my brain came up with a great analogy for it. It's the preparing to fight the dragon is actually scarier than fighting the dragon. The anxiety of getting ready to go into the dungeon, right? That fear of just what's going to happen, what's over there, all of the unknowns. Am I prepared? Can I do this? Am I supported? Will I survive this? All of that happens before you walk through the door. That's the hard part. Walking through the door, seeing the dragon, of course, if you haven't prepared to fight a dragon, you're going to lose. But that's not the point of what I'm trying to say. The point I'm trying to say is it's the anxiety and the fear that hold us back from making these big movements and big life changes, to the point where you won't. You can come up with all the plans. You can be like, all right, I know what I want to do. I know that whatever this thing is I want to do, get a new job, move to a new place, leave a relationship. I'm trying to think of the biggest scary things that I can think of that are relatively within your control. But people will talk themselves out of it, even after they have everything in place. You go to school for the career you want, you get your experience, you take the lower level jobs so that way you can gain the knowledge you need. You go through the onboarding to move to a different country. You do all of these things. You look at what it is to get a divorce. You find you find your support group, how you can move through it. But it's the turning that key, that mental block that holds us back. So how do you fix that? Well, looking at your birth chart's helpful for some of these things, to find out if you're thinking retrograde style, like I said, with a Saturn or Jupiter or Uranus, like any retrograde in your chart. But there's also mindfulness and sitting in the discomfort. And that's the part people don't like, because you're already uncomfortable. You're already like anxious and scared and upset and confused and all of these things. So it's sitting in that discomfort and figuring out why you're afraid. What are you afraid of? Because all of these big emotions that we feel all stem back down to fear. Where do you hold that fear? What's your trigger? Going in and being mindful and thinking about it, being in it, feeling your way through those levels of discomfort to get to the root of the problem. And then identifying that problem and then fixing it. See? And all of a sudden, that seems like too much work. That's hard work. That is the real hard work of life. I work through it with mindfulness, meditation. I do a lot of tarot readings for myself to identify if the energy, what energy should I be following? And sometimes that is the hard part. Like they give you the clue for the hard part. But a lot of times you can just sit in that discomfort and feel where it comes from. And then it just takes a lot of shadow work and therapy. But that's the hard work. That's the real hard part of being on Earth, is working through your own mind and your own emotional space to get where you want to get for a better outcome for this small sliver of existence that your soul has in the grand scheme of its entire existence. You're only going to be here for a short amount of time, and you may or may not come back to Earth. You might as well make the most of it, and sometimes that means doing the hard work, the scary stuff, the idea of taking on the dragon. Oh, okay. We're gonna go finish our walk now.